everybody. Welcome to podcast 143. Is that right, Dex? Yeah, 143.
Yeah. We're creeping up on that 150 mark.
Yeah, it's getting close. We're going to have to do another extravaganza or something, maybe, eh?
We'll see.
So, tonight on the podcast, you have myself, Kerry Crates, Dexter Wiseman, Adam Weber, and new podcast host, kinda, sorta,
hanging out for the night,
Katie Rayner.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah.
How's it
How's
going?
everybody doing? Who's excited for this week?
I'm excited for tomorrow.
Oh. Yeah, us too, because we got bowling.
I do not have bowling.
That's why you're excited for tomorrow.
Thursday Night
Also-
League defending champions.
Yeah.
Well, defending aggregate.
We have the trophy.
Yeah,
we have the
that's right.
trophy.
Defending league champions.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's all that
The-
matters. Playoffs means nothing.
The team of Ha Ha Katie Farted is reunited and we're ready for another season. We negotiated our bet. We're
Yeah,
good to go.
that was a big ordeal. But we got it. The terms are set.
For those who don't know, me and Katie are on a bet every single year in our Thursday Night League.
I'm champion 3 years running.
2.
2.5 because of the COVID year.
Yeah. So we bet on every single game. Every game is worth 1 point. She somehow negotiates her way into having bonus points at the start of the year because she says she has boobs.
I do. Fact.
But we're gonna test her mental fortitude this year. We're gonna go back to the winning ways of like the first season where I played 3 and Katie played 4th, and I could mind screw her before the 10th frame. So she's got 10 bonus points this year. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have that washed away after the first quarter.
Okay, I feel that's wrong. For starters.
Oh, yeah.
I guess
can't
we'll
wait
see.
to watch Dexter's dreams get crushed. He thinks he's got this all figured out.
My mental game has gotten a lot stronger.
So
We'll
what's,
find
what's
out.
the payoff? Like, is there like a nut shot, or is that just a Tim Wiseman thing?
We
that
just
never
make
happens?
each other do something embarrassing. Although she
Okay.
hasn't made me do anything yet. So
Yeah,
that's-
I really dropped the ball on when I won. I didn't make him do anything. And then now he negotiated that he doesn't have to do anything so that I got 10 ticks to start the week or to
Otherwise,
start
she
the
was
year.
getting none. So
Which
the-
wasn't fair, but
it was
okay.
fair.
That's what happens. The line comes down, the more you end up winning.
She's won 2.5 years,
Exactly.
and she averaged basically the same thing I averaged last year, minus 1 week where she was dog shit.
Oh, I was terrible.
Yeah.
Dexter, she should be giving you sticks.
You know what Kayla Drew sent me the other day? A memory from like one of our first weeks of bowling 4 years ago that I threw 119. Does anybody remember that? Because I don't remember that.
Yeah.
We
119.
weren't there.
No, that's actually.
Yeah, Carrie,
One
I don't think
quarter.
you were there.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you're pretty much not wrong there, John. Yeah, actually, you know what? There's something we could talk about really quick. Congratulations to Jonathan Cowan winning his first ever duck pin tournament and setting a world record. It was like
incredible.
25.91 or something like that for 15 games.
Yeah.
That's
It was
awesome.
something close to that.
And I think the gentleman he beat in the final, Kobe, he set the 13-game world record
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So, pretty outstanding shooting for both those guys for sure.
24.90. Yeah, that's unbelievable. That's so cool.
Yeah.
How I just can't imagine that duck. And I hear I hear I'm wrong, but I can't believe that duck pinners don't hate the 5-pinners going down there and just playing duck pin for the first time in their lives and setting world records. Like, like I don't know. If some 10-pinner walked into my bowling alley and beat every record I ever had, I'd be like, get out. That's enough.
Yeah. Why even here?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we've had quite a few champions down there, right? Well, like I know they have a lot more events than we kind of do, so it's hard to say that we're winning a lot. But every season, I think we have a champion that comes out of one of their tournaments, right? Like Sylvain won a big one down there. I think Herbert won one.
Jeff has definitely
Um,
won.
Yeah.
We should
Connie
go play a
Ward.
duck pin tournament.
No, we really need to. We really need
Was
to get down
was
there.
it Connie Ward who'd won a whole bunch
Yeah.
down there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Connie's won
And didn't
lots on the
Natalie,
ladies'
too?
side. Who was that? Sorry, Dex?
Natalie Trudell, I believe. I think-
yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But yeah,
Good
it's
on.
awesome. We'll have to try that one
Let's
day.
talk about what Adam wants to talk about. NFL season. What's going on, Adam?
Seahawks.
Let us know.
Oh, no, everything starts tomorrow. It's like NFL, like regular season eve. So tomorrow's going to
This
be
is all backwards.
a very, very happy day for a lot of people, a lot of gamblers that are out there. Nobody cares about the Broncos. That's the first thing, and or the Raiders. And unfortunately, Tim's not here, so I can't even like knock his Raiders. But they will finish dead last in our division.
We had a staff member just go down to Vegas for the first time ever and went and saw a preseason game, and his dad bought him a jersey, and now all of a sudden he's a Raiders fan, and I can't even look him in the face. It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm hoping for good things for my Dolphins this year, and I hope for good things for my Dolphins every year, and it always turns out very mediocre. Right down the middle, usually like 500. Yeah. We'll see what happens, but
No, they'll go 9-8, 10-7, somewhere in that range, and probably just miss out on a playoff spot. And
or just
be-
sneak in. But yeah,
Yeah.
they're never good enough to actually compete. But yeah,
I don't know. They've got a pretty solid offense. I
Yeah.
just don't think Tua is going to be the guy.
yeah.
Their wide receivers are incredible. And they're decent running game, decent defense. So that's kind of where you're going to end up is that like 9-8, 10-7 record. So
Yeah, at
but
this
that
point,
could
they've
win that
given him-
division.
They've given him all of the tools he needs to succeed. So we'll see if Tua actually does something with it. And if it isn't this year, then it's time to ship him out, I think. But
Palmer, I'm not joining the bandwagon. Wilson's dead to me. I'm sick of it. It's not happening.
I gotta ask, do you guys have Aaron Rodgers? No? So at least I got that. That's all I got.
is that a good
The rest
thing?
of the team sucks. Yeah.
What is
still-
with
he's
Packers?
still good.
What's with Packers quarterbacks going down like this mentally out of control spiral at the end
They
of their
play
careers?
on a frozen turf all year long. Like
Holy
how
cow.
else
It's
do you
called
want them to
adapting.
turn out?
They must be sniffing something out there. 'Cause, like,
It's literally the coldest football stadium ever, and they have to
Watch
play in
that
it
guy.
all year long.
I watch that guy every Tuesday on the Pat McAfee show, and he's actually pretty darn smart. But his logic is kind of out there sometimes. But he's really good. Listen,
He can throw a football, guys.
he can.
all you need, though.
He's ranked like 14th preseason quarterback, reigning back-to-back
14th.
MVP of the league.
yeah.
He's ranked like 14th.
Oh God,
It's not going to be a
the
great
world
year.
hates him. The world hates him. All right. Well, let's move this on. We won't stop talking about the duck pin thing because we know our guest is a duck pinner as well. But of course, we want to bring on Mr. Club Tour champion himself, Jeff Young. How's it going, man?
How's it going, guys and girl?
Hello.
She doesn't.
Welcome, Jeffy.
She fits in with the guy. She says she has a giant spirit dick.
I
do. She's just one of us. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Good. Did you find a good place to hang your key?
Oh, you know what? It's still in the car. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's not. Although it was in there for a couple days.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Mitch would have had it plastered behind him right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will say this
exactly.
right off the bat, though. I am doing a TikTok, and I have a couple in mind. One I kind of got the green light on. One was a definite red light. I didn't hurt anyone's feelings. So maybe only the one, but I have two really good ideas. So
And now you just got to figure out how to make them. Cause
I got to figure out what a TikTok is now.
Is that because we've established that you're old, Jeff? But
Yes.
You're not that much older than me and Adam.
I am 43 in a couple weeks.
I just noticed the Jeff Young-ish on the.
Yeah.
I'm.
Yeah. And
It
it
was
definitely
subtle,
was
right?
not. It wasn't Tim that did that.
It was subtle.
It was
Because he would have
subtle.
spelled that wrong too.
Yeah, Young with an E or something on the end.
Yeah, he would have done something wrong for sure. Yeah, it's not his fault. It's the fat fingers that are, typing away.
Sure. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. So yeah, like we were talking about this duck pin stuff. So you were bowler of the year, you said, in 2015?
Yeah, 2015. Yep. So first off, kind of the good thing that we've got going on with the 5-pin bowlers bowling duck pin, the duck pin bowlers bowling 5-pin. I know that there are duck pin bowlers watching this right now. So just want to say, I see you. I see you watching.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like if I mean I always say this. Wow. Yeah. that's not wrong, I guess. Yeah. So I always say this: if a 5-pin bowler ever gets a chance to take the opportunity to go down and bowl in a duck pin tournament, don't say play, because they will make fun of you. You don't play, you bowl. There's a difference. I always say do it. It's so much fun. I mean, obviously, John Cowan just experienced how much fun it really is. Last weekend, and it's like a parallel universe, to be honest with you, because all your skills translate, but nobody knows you. And it's just it's the weirdest thing, right? Like it's, you can go up there and throw absolute bombs, which, I mean, you're not going to throw very many strikes. I mean, I because I have a pretty good connection with a large majority of those bowlers, and having, friends that are bowling, that are 5-pin bowlers that are bowling there. I pretty much watch every tournament live stream, and yeah, like it's just, you don't throw very many strikes, but I mean, Kobe and John really made it look pretty easy on the Sunday for sure. I didn't get to watch any this Saturday, but it's a spare game. And the one thing that they even say themselves for the 5-pin bowlers is that we are deadly accurate compared to them, because we play pockets, like we're a little more refined, but they throw shots that we're not used to, like I honestly feel like it makes you a better 5-pin bowler by going to bowl duck pin, because it really makes you reassess and not get complacent on what you do. Because I mean, let's be honest, we have 5 basic shots: side of the head pin, side of 3 pins, and each 2-pin. Simple as that, right? Where there you have to like decide, what am I going to play, the inside of this shot or the outside? Do I want to like deflect it off this pin, then off the wall and shoot it across? Like there are so many factors that you have to think about. And yeah, like I said, it makes you a better bowler. And you guys are right. Like these guys, they come in with open arms, and they're so welcoming. And
that's what I think is awesome. Like I think it's great.
Yeah. And it's good too. Like, I mean, Kobe was supposed to come up, the kid that John beat in the finals. He was supposed to come up, and harping on him for the longest time. I mean, I bowled his dad once. He would have been, man, I don't even think he was 10 years old. I bowled his dad in the semifinals, and this kid was talking my ear off while I was like going into my approach every single ball. The kid lives for bowling, and he was supposed to come up. Vaccine passport, everything like that never happened. But I mean, I already hear he's planning for January. But it's a good relationship, like awesome. We are finding for club tour, we're finding, a wealth of bowlers that, are literally coming out of nowhere. Like how do you find, maybe 50 bowlers that have the skill good enough to bowl in these tournaments and compete, but they never existed a couple years ago. You know what I mean? Like they don't just grow and be there, and this is a good avenue, and same for down there. I think it's a good relationship. And to answer your question about the bowling balls, they are the same. Like I actually, for this club tour, I use the ABC Comets, not the Epco Comets, the ABC ones, which are duck pin balls. Mm-hmm. And I had 2 sets. I had 5, 3, and yeah, 5, 3, 8. And 5, 3, 12 were what I was throwing. And aside from that, like, I mean, they're not big on soft rolls, but they have like their Comets, Manhattans, and stuff like that. They're all about them. Yeah.
Even at club tour for me, I was using old Comanches.
Yeah, the duckpin ball. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What-
And
what-
they're not illegal. You know what? It's funny because I
Items
bought
312 is legal.
I had a set of 4.78 312 Comets. They were like a test ball, like it was like the branch between the ABC Comet and the Epco Comet. And I bought them off eBay, and I bought them before 312 was legal. And I bought them because like I was bowling so many duckpin tournaments. I'm like, I need a really good, softer, basically, well, like Brett says, like a cannonball. And the year that I bought them, they changed the rule to 312. I'm like, perfect. I can use them in 5-pin now, so this works out great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there an advantage to like a say like a soft roll compared to what they're using down there now, or like say Starline for example?
I mean, not too many people throw Starline. I always was until I blew mine up the last tournament I bowled, and not many throw soft roll. But it's not that they haven't tried them. It just, I don't know. Like you always just kind of like pay attention to what all the top guys are throwing, and they all pretty much throw the same thing. Like Comets are literally Jonathan just said, they're literally like gold. Like I bought 2 sets off of someone. I got a deal, so I got 4 balls for 300 American, and that was a deal. And I mean, these balls are like 30 years old. You know what I mean? Like, and that was a deal. So, I mean, it works down there, and it works in 5-pin too. They're very solid ball. They're consistent and they're very comfortable to throw. So, I guess if anything, like that's a good feature for us. We have some equipment that we didn't know was available before. That now
Wasn't Manhattan's kind of a big ball down there for them quite a while? Like I know some guys have them up here now, but
yeah, I think it's like basically it's like your Comets, Manhattans, and Pro Lines are pretty popular.
I've got a wild set of Pro Lines.
Yeah, it's crazy. And there's people that collect the Comets. Like there are a couple people that have like suitcases filled with these bowling balls, and they're all different color combos, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of like personalized.
Yeah.
Kind of like
I wonder
Pederitis
if-
with the soft rolls.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I wonder if this is the avenue that we can do to actually like get our game into the States. Even if it's just into the eastern states like that. Maybe, if it slowly builds where the competitive duck pinners are playing and the competitive 5 players are playing duck pin, maybe there's a point in time where we can have a center down in the States and have a duck pin center here in Canada.
I mean, Walt Brooks was trying, and we like sourced some machines possibly for him for one bowling center down there that had some duck pin lanes that were down, and they didn't have the parts to get them up and going again anytime soon. I think that deal fell through, but I guess the one caveat is like at Victoria Bowl, like Mitch Pape, we literally were practicing for our last, the one tournament that we bowled in. He has Mendez, and they have a duck pin feature for their scoring, and he was able to build a top deck for basically like 10 pin, and we did string duck pin. It wasn't quite the same, you didn't get the same pin action, but it gives you an idea of like what's a good shot and what's not a good shot, and at least we're able to practice. But I mean, I don't think we're that far away from doing something like that, because I mean they were running like old Sherman machines that there's a million moving parts and stuff breaks.
Yeah.
Like they literally have to employ a mechanic all the time, so
Right.
much stuff
it's
breaks.
no different
and
than 10 pin, right?
parts,
Yeah.
parts are hard to find. You know what I mean? Like,
I
it's,
might be able to find some 5-pin machines. I might know some people that just ripped out some 5-pin machines.
well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of availability. Like, even when I was talking to Walt about it, there was quite a bit of availability, and yeah, like I don't know on what end it didn't go through on, or I mean, it is kind of a big commitment to get everything shipped down there. And I mean, we had some lanes from our place, some actual lane beds shipped up from Michigan once, or I guess shipped down from Michigan. I mean, it takes a lot of work to get that through, but I mean, if they were really committed to doing it, I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's just making them understand that there's a viable market, because
Yeah.
aside from having some lanes down where they don't they never get used. Like it's kind of scary to pull out,
Yeah.
something
such a
they're
permanent
used
change.
to, and then throwing in something that they don't know if it's gonna fly.
Yeah.
Like Walt's pretty sure he can get a 5-pin league. I'm definitely confident he could get a 5-pin league going, even if it was just 4 lanes for now,
Yep.
and make it profitable for them. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, someone's just got to make the first step. And I even say that for going down the duck pin. Like if you want to like try it, the hardest thing to do is get you down the first time. And then once you get down there, you understand what we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to get you. Everybody that I've gone with has been like, all right, when are we going again? On the way back. It's like, oh, that was a lot of fun. Let's go again.
I think that's a really good opportunity for us, because almost the biggest struggle that we have in the States is that when they come up here and they see our game, a lot of people are just like, oh, it's kids bowling. It's kids bowling because it's little balls, and you're not using the big ones. At least in the duck pin communities where duck pin is prevalent and they know what it is,
They understand
they're not
it.
going to think that 5-pin is
Yeah.
kids bowling. It's not an ego driven thing. They can just throw the little balls and not worry about not throwing the big ones.
I tell you, the for our game, the biggest selling point to them is the strikeability. I mean, I go down there and I always joke with them, like if you have a tough start, I like, wow, if we were bowling 5-pin right now, I'd say that's nothing 6 in a row wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't cure, right? And then they're like, they kind of stare at you like 6 in a row, like. Some of them have never seen somebody do that before. What I mean? Like, and it's just like, oh yeah, like if you came up and bowl 5-pin, you would understand. And then there's so many people that are, like they come up and they throw 4 or 5 in a row, and then the next game they throw 4 or 5 in a row, and they're like, this is crazy. Like this is so much more fun. Just like like there are features in duck pin that we find more fun because, just like I said, it's a parallel universe. It's the same, but it's not the same.
Do we have a lot of duck pinners that have moved up to 5-pin? Like Freddie was a duck pinner, right?
No, he was
Freddie
candlepin.
Candle.
He was
Yeah, there's a
candlepin.
lot of candlepin bowlers. A lot of candlepin bowlers that are 5-pin bowlers, and it's funny because that shift is happening now in duckpin as well. The tournament that we went and bowled in June, the winner was Gary Santoro, who's a candlepin bowler from Maine. So you know what I mean? Like
Lots of
it's
crosses.
kind of nice because like the small ball bowling that they like we all preach about is it's small ball. Everybody's kind of like mingling together and bringing some numbers up and getting better participation and learning from each other. So it's kind of cool that way.
So when is it time for us to start small ball worlds again?
You know what? It's funny, when we had Elmira, we actually we had some talks about running that, and like there was some traction on putting a Team USA in and a Team Canada in, and them coming up and bowling. We were gonna try and figure out, actually, now that there's a club tour in August, like that's probably a viable opportunity because they can come up and then we can go down and bowl one of their duckpin tournaments and then do a side event as well. I mean, they already do like their world championship where they play like Argentina and stuff like that. Because Argentina and Philippines also have the hard belly duckpin bowling. But like for us, it's hard. Like if we were to try to get into something like that for duckpin, like how do you pick a team? You know what I mean? Like we have maybe 9 or 10 kind of semi-regulars that would that are duckpin bowlers as well. But then how do you pick like perfect example, like so like you have John and Nathan Cooper. They both go down and never bowled it before and they win their tournament. You know what I mean? Like how do you, like, we could bring out 150 bowlers that have never bowled it before and have a chance to win their first ever tournament, the first one they ever bowled. And like, how do you pick that, as a team if you were doing like duckpin, you know what I mean? So,
Yep.
And I also want to give a shout out to Robbie Owl too, because I know he's watching. He's made some comments. So, see you too.
But
yeah,
I
I
think
mean-
it'd be neat to do the whole, like Freddie kind of posted in the comments there, the 5-pin, duckpin, candlepin tournament.
Yeah,
Exactly.
For
That
sure.
would be incredible.
yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, there is interest on their end for sure, and proprietors as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there is an opportunity there if we can kind of logistically schedule something that it could be done, and we could bring that back for
Yeah.
sure. So
Just play a different game every year, rotate it every 3 years.
yeah, Or I mean, you can try and figure out like if you went and bowled their north stops, which would be Connecticut, Rhode Island. I mean, you could go to Massachusetts and there's
Yeah.
there's Candlepin there too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we did it one night. We didn't bowl very well, so we went Saturday night and we went to Candlepin Place and bowled. You know, a couple games with a bunch of them, and there's that chance to do that. So
Yeah. You want to know how I found out that there was Candlepin in Massachusetts?
how?
Fallout 4, the video game. There were posters in the game for Candlepin
Really?
in Boston. Yeah,
Well, there you go.
yeah. There you go. Fun fact.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably gonna piss off. I mean, I already have pissed off some Candlepin bowlers, but I mean, I bowled 2 games, and I think my second game I had a 124, which is pretty good. I found it boring. Like, I didn't really enjoy it. The ball is literally the same size as a softball, so for me to keep it on the lane the first half of the game, I pretty much try not to hit the ceiling and then try not to put it straight on the gutter. You know, my first half a game, and then once I got it figured out, it was fine. What's that?
I think Deadwood is the cool part of the game.
It
right?
is, yeah. It definitely is a different dynamic for sure. But yeah, I mean, I really think we should do something like that. I mean, like I said, we have a very good working relationship. You know, going both ways with
awesome.
both associations. So you know what I mean? Like, we could do it.
We're gonna have to make a 5-pin U trip down there.
Yeah. I mean, I keep bugging some of you guys to come out. Like,
Trust
gonna
me,
be harder
it's
for
on
me
our
now,
list of things
but-
to do. Our
Yeah.
season just keeps getting longer and longer. But
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I mean,
How's the Patreon fund looking, Carrie?
yeah, you guys gotta
We're
get
gonna
that
need a few
building.
more patrons.
Yeah, go fund me.
yeah.
I'm super interested. It's just like I said, it runs through the summer months, right? So traveling to bowl is always tough, as we all know,
Yep.
in the winter. Much less giving up some summertime to go do the same thing.
Well,
is
the good news though is that if you you plan it properly, depending on I mean any of the stops. If you go to Maryland, there's a million things you can do and make it actually a trip. It's like first few times that we went, we would go to either an Orioles game or Nationals game because if you're in Baltimore, you're an hour from National Stadium. We did White House a couple times, you know, stuff like that. I mean, you're really, you know, you make a trip out of it. We went and played Rhode Island the one year, and we went to Fenway because it was a short drive. So I mean, there are options.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I remember Jason Medhurst the one year bowled. He was either Connecticut or Rhode Island, and hopped on the train after he finished bowling and went to Yankee Stadium because it was a quick train ride.
That's
You know,
awesome.
Yeah.
so I mean, they're worthwhile, especially if you're like a sports fan. You know, like
Yeah. in
as
the
long as you
summertime,
make
for
it a trip, and I think it's important to make it a trip too because for us, like we're driving 7-8 hours minimum, and I mean for you guys it would be further, obviously, but if you make it a full trip, then the bowling aspect of it, if it disappoints you, isn't going to ruin the whole trip. You know, it's like, I bowled like crap. Cool, let's go see a Red Sox game. You know, that'll make it worth it. You know, and then it's not one sole primary reason to go bowling, and that's it. You know, you make it worth your while.
We'll just create a giant party bus and
Yeah,
head on down.
for sure.
Jeff, you're driving because you don't drink.
Yeah, I had a drink last night,
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
You said you were going to have a drink with me at Club Tier, and you
and
did.
I never did. Yeah. Well, I kind of got thrown off because we started complimenting each other, and I didn't want you to think I was already drunk. So,
Yeah, that's fair. You change when you're on your deathbed.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I thought I was going to die. I literally did.
well, you did look like it for a little bit. So
I felt it. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
yeah.
But hey, I'm still
So-
alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
So let's go into that.
Okay.
The whole club tour situation. Obviously, you qualified in the top 16, so you got the early bye, right?
Thank you for that. That was definitely a must, I think.
Yeah. So go through your qualifying process as champion. How many times did you play, or did you make it on your first try? All that good stuff.
Did not make it on the first try. But I mean, I bowled decent enough. I was over, I think it was just maybe just under 2,100. But I was bowling well, but not scoring well. And I just figured, like I'm going to go in the second shift. Unfortunately, I had to work Saturday morning. So shift availability for me was a little bit kind of at a premium. So I kind of had to go in and out for two and hope I found something. And near the end of that first shift, I kind of found maybe not, maybe a little bit of a rhythm. And I really, to be honest with you, I caught a couple hot games and just rode that through for the second shift. And I think I qualified 7th. I was the second best young because Kyle finished 6th. We were joking about that as I was bowling that shift, but yeah. So I mean, and it's tough because everyone was asking, what the cut's going to be, and like, how do you predict that? Because for us, like 320 entries, maybe I'm going to probably ballpark and be high, but maybe 2/3 had bowled a bit during the summer, and probably a third were just like, well, let's get the season started early, and probably hadn't thrown a whole lot beforehand. So, I mean, like, how do you predict that? Like, it was tough. So, but I mean, fortunately, I guess for me, is my first score I knew wasn't going to be good enough, regardless of what the factors and variables might be. So I was able to bowl, well enough, and was pretty confident that we're going to be fine. But I was like, it as crazy as it is, like, I didn't even know what the format was. And I talked to England about the playoffs, like trying to come up with the playoff schedule. I had no idea what the format even was. And it wasn't even till like the last couple of games, the last shift. And they were like, oh, looks like you're good for bye. And I'm like, what bye? So I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even know about that. And then same thing, like someone's asking me like, oh, what's the format for tomorrow? I'm like, I don't know. What do we do? I was pretty brain dead. I mean, more than usual, but
sometimes that's a good thing though.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, I think so. And then, like I said, like not having the first 7 games and having that bye, I think was really important because, as I've gotten older and less flexible and all that, I've learned that you got to stretch, and it gave me plenty of time to kind of get myself in a half decent headspace and stretch and throw when I needed to throw and kind of get something that worked. And away we went. And I like for Greg to get to the finals and bowl 32 games is absolutely insane. And the fact that he bowled as well as he did, like, let's just throw this out there. There's an elephant in the room. I got lucky to be where I was. And not once, not twice, probably not 3 or 4 times. I was a cat with 9 lives, and I found a way to either luck into a win or throw a shot when I needed to, or have somebody else throw a shot when they needed to for me. Like Greg just brutally beat up on people and, earned his way there. And I mean, if I'm being honest, out of the last 4 of us that were there, I was probably the least that like I probably the least deserving to be there for the way that I bowled, but I won games that I needed to win and found enough score to squeak by. Like I think my first round I had like 1748 for my there you go, like 1748 for my 7 games or whatever. But that's
round 2. Oh yeah, that would be your first round. That's right. Yep.
Yeah. And but I went 5-2. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Or whatever. Yeah, was it 5? Yeah, 5-2. So I mean, I just caught people at the right time, and you know what I mean. And I gained a little bit of momentum as time went on. Now, the one thing that I will say that the Saturday shift, the Friday shift, the second shift, I kind of keyed in on something that I don't know if a lot of other people did, and I definitely put that into a game plan. And I know Mitch kind of giggled at it when you guys were asking about like the line and playing humidity and everything like that. But there was some truth behind that because when I got to the high side, I'm not even kidding. Like my glasses were fogging up. It was so humid in there, and not saying that that's drying the oil, but I know that that affects things. And my strategy was for bowling on Sunday, I was going to throw the 5-inch 312, and I was going to throw it a bit slower for me anyway. And I needed to understand that eventually when the humidity was going to get there, the ball's probably going to move a little more. So I went to a lighter ball and picked the speed up a little bit. And then, clear out a bunch of people, I went back to the heavy ball again. And as the tournament went on and the humidity, I guess, I want to say dropped, but because there were still a lot of people in there, I just found that my adjustment needed to be start heavy. When it goes away, go lighter. And then when that starts going away, start throwing it harder and harder and harder and harder. And that's not an adjustment, that's an adjustment we always say it's like a downfall of someone. Oh, they can't adjust, they just throw it harder. I say it all the time about people. And but that was definitely a strategy where it was just like I needed to understand that the humidity in the place, and with it being in summer, like we're playing in conditions in that bowling center we're not used to, and I needed to adjust to it. And I'm not saying that others didn't, but I think I had a little bit of an edge over a few people that were just like, oh, we'll just keep going. And it was that second shift on Friday that really taught me that, because when I got down to the humid area, I went from throwing a bunch of strikes to picking my brains out. And that ball was just moving a little bit more. And it wasn't the machines, the different machines down there. I really didn't feel like, for me, it didn't make that much of a difference. The machines didn't. But humidity made a huge difference for me. And I definitely kind of kept that in my back pocket.
Yeah, and maybe that was the difference. We're kind of talking before the podcast there. The high side, the convertible side that everybody was talking about was tougher scoring. I found it to be a lot easier scoring compared to the lower side, which was the non-convertibles. But like you said, when you were down on that end, it was hot. Like you're sweating just being in the pit. Like it was crazy.
It was something that I've never really even thought of. Like, I mean, I took my hat off for a while because I was overheating. And like my hair was soaked, and it didn't look pretty. It never does when I'm bowling, but it really didn't look pretty. But I mean, like the one takeaway that I'm gonna do for the next time is I'm bringing a stack of shirts with me, because like someone patted me on the back like whatever third round or whatever, and they're like, oh, like your shirt is soaked. I'm like, I'm like literally swimming in this thing. It's crazy. And it's just like these are factors that you didn't really stop to think about. Like, you think about bowling in August and like, yeah, it's probably going to be a little bit warm in there, but then you don't really factor in like jamming, that many people in as well. That just amplifies it even more. So I mean, like the conditions were a little bit like they're a little rough, and I felt it. I mean, I literally almost passed out.
Oh yeah. The humidity is definitely. I'm like not definitely. I'm like 80% sure that's the reason why I bailed 3 times. For sure. Just slowly heating up. And like honestly, that slider is pretty much toast now too.
Yeah.
It's like I pulled it out the other day and it's like it's just matted right down.
It's probably still sweaty.
So yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Tomorrow's gonna be interesting. First day of league, pull the bowling shoes out of the bag from club tour.
Yeah.
They're gonna be pretty dirty.
Yeah.
Did anybody get Dexter falling on camera?
He fell 3 times. I don't know how we didn't capture this.
Yeah, like how is that not a thing that's like circulating the internet? Confused. I fall 1 time and it's all over.
It's called respect, Katie. It's called respect.
Oh, okay.
Good timing on the fall. That's what it's all about. There's good timing and bad timing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like one thing that I really want to make mention too, like I mean, I've been fortunate that a lot of people have approached me and commenting on how good my bowling was, and I'm pretty proud of that. But like, let's stop for a second, because like I'm going to say something that like Jeff England will never say himself. The guy finished top 4 in his own bowling center in a tournament he was running. Like, do you understand how hard that is? And everyone's like, oh, it's easy bowling his own. Like, we were bowling in, I believe it was the 3rd round, and and having been a proprietor as well, like I see the things that he probably sees, but not on the scale that he sees it. You know what I mean? Like he's got a billion stresses going on. Like everything that is a factor in that bowling center, he sees and he's thinking about it while he's bowling. And I was bowling on the lane right beside the curtain, and right on the other side of us were open bowlers doing whatever. He was going up. I was standing. It's a duck pin thing. In duck pin, you get used to doing 2-lane courtesy and 1 lane instead of 1-lane courtesy. So I'm off the lane, and he's up there getting ready to bowl. And on the other side of this curtain, someone threw a 10-pin ball and a 5-pin ball at the same time. And you can hear that. I mean, Dexter, can you not hear when someone does something stupid in a bowling alley, no matter where you are?
Instantly. Yep.
Yeah. So he's in his, like, he's about to take his first step, and he doesn't react. He doesn't look over, nothing. He just stands there for an extra long time. Pitched out, made the spare. And I went over to him like, man, like way to go on that. Like, that was crazy. He's like, oh, you saw that too? I'm like, oh, I saw that. I'm like, and for you to not lose your shit, like kudos to you. And he went not a whole day, like a whole goddamn week like that, where everything, whether it was tournament based, redemption, open bowling, bar, the investment seminar, everything was a stress to him. And literally was probably like one bad break away from, taking the spot in the finals instead of me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, that is by far the most impressive performance that whole tournament, and there were great performances. But the fact that he had to do that under those circumstances and be that successful, I mean, hats off to you. Like, that was amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And we praised him for it when he was on the last podcast or the podcast before. Yeah. It's like, it was unreal seeing him and him being in the moment, even with all that going on, and throwing the shots when he needed to make the next round, and the shots when he thought he needed in order to make the final, which turned out to be your ticket to the final, right?
Yep.
It was pretty incredible. He was super bummed out about it, but it speaks volumes to his game and his mental fortitude for sure. If he was constantly playing, and how good would Jeff England be if he had the opportunity to play, right?
Yeah, and like I said, like that tournament's hard enough to bowl in, especially to get that far, and to do it with a billion distractions. Literally, every ball you throw is unfathomable. Like, to be honest with you.
Yeah, pretty crazy. You were talking about like how Greg played so well. Like, Greg dominated pretty much every round, every bracket he was in. Lenny Anseth was unreal. He was top side of his bracket every time.
Like I said, I'm not afraid to say, like, out of the 4 guys that were in the final 4, I was the least deserving to be in the final.
That's the great thing about that pool
for
format.
Sure. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I just think that needs to be said. And, I will be the first guy to tell you that.
Trust me, Jeff. People have seen the scores. They know.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the great, like you said, the great thing about bowling. Like, you have so many top players, and it's literally drama unfolding in front of you of, like, how many different factors. Like, is this guy, if he wins this game, he can bowl this, but if he loses the game, he's got to bowl that. Like, there's just so many cool factors to that makes it a whole lot of fun to bowl in.
I was sitting on a beach trying to follow the stats with like limited cell service and having super FOMO, but it looked like it was good.
It was fun. That's an event that if people get the opportunity, you need to go play it, go experience it. Obviously, I'm super biased when it comes to the WCBT and stuff like that, but the club tour was easily just as well run, if not a step above, with having all of Jeff's focus on it, right? So
for sure.
Yeah. Just next time, I want to see the stats on the big screen in the lounge. I want to sit there all
There's
day
a
just
few
watching
extras
the stats.
that Jeff could have done, but he slacked.
He'll get
Never
to it.
satisfied.
Yeah, he'll get to it for sure. He's probably sitting there right now, programming everything, trying to figure it out. Knowing him, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we seen all the stats. I think it was, oh, I don't remember what year, 2019 Autumn Open or whatever, which one it was. And you guys had all the stats on the big screen in the lounge, and we didn't get that.
Yeah.
So I feel cheated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one year it froze. It froze on the picture of Dexter and Tim. I'm like, man, that is an ugly screen to get frozen on. Yeah, that was bad.
You lucky guys.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was funny because like bar sales went up, but everyone kind of like went out there like, I got to drink till this guy's good looking, and that never happened. They just kept drinking.
Good. We need to try that marketing scheme at our center then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But
Definitely wish I coulda
you
gotten
know,
up
like
there.
I will say this, I really think this is important to kind of mention too. Like I said earlier, a lot of people reach out to me and stuff like that, and you know, if I want to be 100% honest, like I am getting serious here. You know, you guys didn't have to say anything. You did, and I appreciate it. Kind of been struggling with myself lately, and you know, you never know when your words of encouragement can really kind of drive home. So I just kind of want to make note that, you know, it reached me, and I really appreciate it.
I hope you're not talking to me.
No, definitely not talking to you. No. Man, I couldn't wait till you just get on a plane and leave. Yeah.
These West guys
Like
suck.
you're
Get 'em out
you're
of
the
here.
one person that went into the travel lodge and it got dirtier.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
I don't
I
know.
don't think that was possible.
I don't know, man.
Here we
Apparently,
are. Here we
apparently
are.
our room was the only one that had damp sheets. And if that's the case, it was because of me. So, no, man, like, you've been a superstar in this game forever, and you deserve all the good words, and you're a great promoter of the game. You deserve all the good words out there, even if certain people think you're overrated.
I was wondering how we were gonna throw that in there. Yeah, I mean, no, I mean that's a good thing that I like, especially now that, you know, you guys are you're making your way out east to keep everybody happy. I'll put that in quotes. And you know, a bunch of our guys coming out your way, like that's a good relationship where, you know, like you're kind of just broadening your friendships, and it's exciting, especially like I hadn't been to Masters Nationals in 12 years. I hadn't bowled Masters in 12 years. And I mean, the whole landscape of that field has changed, and the bowlers have changed as well. Cause I mean, they're obviously a lot younger bowlers, and we kind of talked about that a little bit, but the one thing that I find that's prevalent today, as opposed to, you know, 12 years ago, even, is the, you know, the respect shown to each and every one of the bowlers. And it is really something to hang our hats on and be really proud of, because, you know, we form these friendships that are going to last a lifetime. And, you know, a dozen years ago, 15, 20 years ago, those would have been rivalries, you know, like it really would. And maybe not, you know, to like a violent stage, but,
Yeah.
you know, like there was never, I mean, I won't say never, but there wasn't the camaraderie and the friendships that there are today. You know, like I look forward to seeing you guys, except for you, Dexter. I don't look forward to seeing you ever, but I mean, like, especially Tim, and I look forward to seeing everybody, because like these are friends that I don't get to see nearly enough, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we said it quite a bit on the podcast, and I'm very proud of where the game has moved from. And like I said, even when I was in YBC, like, and going into my early adults, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And I had heard the stories in the past where it was like really savage at times. And I'm so glad that we collectively as a community have pushed it forward to a point where it's far more inclusive. Respect, you're exactly right. Respect is there. The people at the higher end of the game are welcoming to the people that are entering the higher end of the game, because that's how we grow the game. And at the end of the day, I think there's the difference between a good player and a great player is how they handle themselves and carry themselves. and I think we're at a point where we have a lot of great players in the game, and
Well-
I think it's awesome.
Let's not like beat around the bush, and like we really need to mention too, like the culture that you guys have created with the WCBT. My, as I call him, my little brother Mitch. And Jen and I always say that about him, and like other people following suit, that MBT, which is going on right now. Like these are all cultural type things that are going to make that stronger. And we've had Club Tour for quite a while. You guys have been doing your Western tournaments for quite a while, but you can see momentum gaining where people are kind of getting it. And I mean, I said this before, like if you want to change the culture, you need to be the culture, and we're doing that. Maybe not so much me, but the people that are putting these events together and spending a lot of their time and not getting anything for it, yes, monetarily anyway, a lot of time and effort to have these avenues for people, and it's not without some successes. You know what I mean? Like you look at the landscape today. I mean, we're talking about how great things are. I mean, you guys are very primarily responsible for that, and we can't let that go without being said.
Thank you.
Except for you,
Whatever.
Dexter, you suck.
Yeah, shit.
I tried so hard not to say anything there.
I
had
know.
to.
Wasn't directed at you.
Compliment, Carrie.
Yeah, I appreciate the words. Obviously, everybody's been a big part of all this stuff, and you and Mitch. As much as we try and make fun of Mitch and you, you guys coming a part of these podcasts as much as you guys do, giving up your free time just to make the joke viable and spread the word and all that good stuff. It's meant a lot to us, so we appreciate it, and I hope we get to go to a lot more events together. That's
sure.
that's the whole point of this whole thing, right?
And then we take on the Duckman World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
It's actually funny too, like kind of talking about like how things are. I know you guys have done some absolute crazy investment seminars in your tour history, and we had a decent one as well. But so I played ball last night, and I play ball on a team with Robert McDougall and Mitch Pape.
Oh, so
And,
it's not the Legends League.
No.
Okay.
So we were talking last night, and we have like a bunch of guys that they don't know anything about bowling. And now that I've won Club Tour, and they've obviously talked about investment seminar, these guys are like, man, like we need to get in on this. Like, when's the next investment seminar? Oh, we want to go to this. Like, I should try starting bowling. I didn't know there was money in bowling. It's like, whoa. There's not that much money in bowling. Yes, and we're no gambling here. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like it's I'm gonna go with it. I don't care. But you know what I mean? Like
No,
It's,
you're all good. You're all good.
yeah. Sorry, we can have a code word for it maybe. We can't say it on air. But, it's crazy that like now these are non-bowlers that are now interested in the game, and maybe there's something to that as well. Like the
Yes.
availability. Like I know I'm sure your guys' numbers for your tournaments are pretty on spot, but
Zero
like-
now. Zero.
yeah, but you know what I mean. Like no, but I mean like for viewership. So
Oh yeah.
so like I mean we had over 200 people at one time watching the Club Tour on the Sunday, and like you wonder how many of those people are recreational bowlers, people that don't bowl, they're just kind of interested. You know what I mean? Like that maybe this is kind of get the wheels kind of turning a little bit. Like hey, maybe I need to get my kid in this, or maybe I need to get back into it, or whatever it takes. But like, this is something for us anyway that we haven't really had a viable avenue to kind of promote it the way it really needs to be promoted. We're starting to get there.
This
And
is
I
why
think it's
We-
important.
I've continually wanted to try to get bowling onto Bet365
Mhm.
because this is
Without
this
gambling.
Is the,
yeah, this is the wrong way to go. We're not want
This-
to talk about gambling.
Oh, once it's legal, I'm all about it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I actually got a hold of Bet365 and they were like, no. But
Yeah.
we've got to find a legal way where it's accessible to people to gamble, because that's how we're going to get viewership, and that's how we're going to get other people joining it and paying attention to a sport that they may not have thought they wanted to do before.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
It's the easiest way to get the outside of the community we already have.
I know some people who'd be interested in that.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
they watch the Dream Crushers every
right.
week.
100%.
I mean, I talked to two of them in my ball team last night. They're like, "Let's get in on this. Like, we seriously want to go to the next one just for that. Like, they'll watch some bowling and do their thing,
Absolutely. Yeah, I could not agree more.
But it's exciting because, like, let's be honest, like, 5-pin bowling for the longest time was the redheaded stepchild of bowling, right? And nobody looked at it as something serious. And now I'm having conversations constantly, like whether I'm at work or playing ball or whatever, where people are like, wow, like, this is a big deal. But they've never had that opinion before. Never come across, like, you're almost like, yeah, I bowl. Oh, 5-pin or 10-pin? You're like, 5-pin. You know what I mean? Because you know what's coming after that. But now it's not like that at all. Now it's just like, yeah, like, this is what it is. And,
Yeah.
Sorry, John, no offense to you.
It's funny you say that, Jeff, because even I started a new job here not too long ago, back in February. And here we had a bunch of tournaments coming up, and so I had to take days off right away from my new job. And that was the first thing they asked, "Oh, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm going bowling." And they ask 5-pin, 10-pin, stuff like that. But then you get into the nitty-gritty details. They ask, like, well, what's it about? Oh, there's entry fees, there's prize money and stuff like that. There's a lot of interest in it once people are introduced to it. It's the people that aren't introduced to it, they have no clue what's going on, right? So it's getting that information out to those people in order to build it, right? And that's where the stigma comes from, is a lot of people are embarrassed that they're 5-pin bowlers. They don't promote it. They don't share it on their social media because they're scared their ball friends or their hockey friends are whatever. Like,
But the ball friends are the ones you need to share that with, because
Exactly.
there's a reason why it works so well and well together. One season ends, the next season starts. Like we have so many ball teams that play. But I think the big thing, Carrie, is that, again, talking about the money involved with it, right? Because the money is the one thing that everybody can relate to.
Exactly.
Hey, you're going to win 10 grand at this tournament. You can win 10 grand at a 5-pin bowling tournament. Like,
Yeah,
all of a
unheard
sudden
of,
that
right?
brings
Like-
validity to it right away.
Yeah. And let's not forget too, like, the professional presentation of it. And we're getting there with that too, because we're starting to have tournaments where there's a little bit of pride in the product, but the presentation of the product is getting really good too, where like, you send a link to somebody like, hey, you need to check this out, this is a tournament I was in, and they're like, oh wow, like, this is like pretty well put together, this is like, this is entertaining. Like people, I work with a guy that said that he bowled years and years and years ago and hadn't really even thought about it till he found out I was a bowler, and I told him, like, oh yeah, I'm going to bowl in this tournament. And he's like, is that gonna be on TV or anything? I'm like, well, they're gonna live stream it. He's like, can you send me the link? He like literally like grabbed a piece of paper right away. He gave me his phone number. He's like, can you text me a link? He's like, I really wanna see this. Like, this looks like I just remember bowling. It's kind of like bringing me back. I want to see what it's like now. And you know what I mean? Like, how many people are out there like that? Like, I'm sure a large majority of us have that same experience where someone either bowled 30, 40 years ago and forgot about it and kind of have a little bit of interest in it, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, hang on a second, like, this has changed a lot since when I bowled. Like, maybe this is something I want to get into again.
Right.
Do you think that stigma is a little bit less these days, especially on like more of that elite level? I'm seeing way more sharing on like social medias.
Yeah.
And obviously, most of our networks are majority bowling related, but all those people that never would have shared anything, now all of a sudden they seem to have that little bit more of a personal connection. They have no problem sharing it. Like, I think that so-called like shame stigma that I certainly had 20 years ago,
For sure.
right, is kind of lessening, and the bowling is good if they've got a personal connection to you. You can portray that personal connection with the rest of the community, and they invest, right?
This is a funny story to go along with that, though, is like, so I have a fancier car. I don't know if you guys happen to see it at Club Tour.
I've never
And-
seen it on your social media at all.
No, I try to actually. I try to separate it actually, the most part. But when Jen and I go for rides in it, we get asked a lot, like pull up at the lights and people are like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And it hasn't happened since I've made this claim, but I said next people that ask me, I'm going to say I'm a professional 5-pin bowler, and just see what the reaction is. I'm just going to go around telling everyone, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" "I'm a professional 5-pin bowler." And they'd be like, "What?"
Yeah.
You know, like I'm going to do it, but
Absolutely.
I haven't. Nobody's asked me since, so we haven't had too much time to get out there. And
We're gonna
do
have
any
cardboard
errands,
cutouts of you at every center soon, promoting something.
so. Yeah, maybe at the dartboard, but yeah.
You know what? I actually just added that to my Instagram profile about 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because we are professionals in what we do best.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, it's not paying the bills or anything like that, but there is that upper echelon, and if you can promote the sport, especially the highest end of that sport, you'll get people invested, and maybe they go down the rabbit hole and they see what it's all about.
You know, it's funny, in warm up for the Sunday playdowns, I actually had that conversation with Matt Montgomery from the Windsor area, and he's just like, "Oh, like I feel like a professional bowler," or however he said it, and I was like you are a professional bowler. Like it's not kind of like you are, you know.
John, are we gonna have game coupons on the?
Oh yes,
on
you
those?
got to have the bowling
On the
coupons on the
cereal
cereal box. Yeah, because that doesn't strike a chord at all with me. Actually, doesn't anymore. I don't care.
That's right. It's this is kind of an out there sort of theory, but I wonder if the shift, so obviously there's been a shift in the industry. We're kind of at a point where there's a lot of fun centers and less just straight league bowling centers. But I wonder if that's sort of helped the stigma of it too, because now you're having a lot more people that are going out to just enjoy the game. You're having a lot of we see a ton of younger people coming out and just having a great time and drinking beer with their buddies, and then realizing that game is the game is super fun. And let's
think
be
you're right.
honest, when we get to the highest level of the game, that doesn't change. We're still just out there throwing balls and drinking beers with our buddies, right? So I wonder if that shift in the industry has actually brought in some younger people and reduced that stigma a little bit.
I don't know if it's it also could be our age, because I know when I used to
Sure.
talk to my friends and I'd be like, "Oh, it's so dorky. I play 5-pin bowling," and they'd be like, "Yeah, that is kind of dorky." But now they're like, "Oh, I love going bowling. We go to Plaza and drink beer. That place is so cool." And the more you talk about "Oh yeah, I played at nationals and came home with a medal," and they're like, "Oh, that's really cool. That you're really good at something." But I almost wonder if it's we've kind of outgrown that you have to do something cool, and now it's cool to be good at something, or it's cool to go out
I
and
think
have
there's something
fun.
to
You know
that
what I mean?
for sure.
You find you have to defend it less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that my conversations around it have changed. I used to completely not tell people unless they knew that I was a bowler, but now I'll be like, "Yeah, I have league tonight," and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. I go bowling on Saturday night sometimes," and it's yeah, you could join a league too, right? And we can have that conversation a little bit more openly. And then when they ask "Oh, why did you take time off work?" "Oh, to go to a tournament," and they're like, "Oh, you can win money." They have more questions. They're more engaged in it. They're more interested in knowing that there's a live stream or there's things that they can watch, and they're kind of more open to it, I think.
I wonder if you're talking about age. I wonder if part of that is the fact that, at our age, a lot of people have moved away from their sports and stuff. I mean, when we were 17, 18, they're in all sorts of sports. Every sport there is, they're in all of it, right? But you start to get to 30 or 35, and you're starting to have families and stuff, and then all of a sudden they're not going to nationals for soccer. They're not going to nationals for anything like that in hockey and stuff anymore. A lot of people play slow pitch, but those are a big deal. You have worlds, and everyone's like, "Yeah, let's go to that." But now I think there's almost a bit of a more respect
ESSC
level.
Tuesday night, get a T-shirt.
Exactly. But I feel like there's almost more of a respect level that, hey, you just won a national medal. You just don't see that as often anymore as an adult. As a kid, you got to see it maybe a little bit more often.
I think the narrative's changed where, for myself personally, people saying, "Oh, there's Jeff, a professional bowler," and there's Jeff, a professional bowler. It sounds the same, but it's not the same. Before it was kind of tongue in cheek, and now it's just check this out. You know what I mean? Like that narrative has really changed. Like you guys are saying, maybe it's the age group, you know, maybe it's the association with a place that's fun for them. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely think, you know, merit to both of those points because, you know, I've noticed that change where it's kind of like they're kind of making fun of you at the start, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey
They're proud
guys,
of
check
you.
this out. This is my friend. He's a professional bowler. Like they say it with pride now, and
Yeah.
you know what it is. Who knows? You know.
Even I noticed like my coworkers, I'd come back from a tournament and if there was something written in the paper, the paper would be like cut out on the staff room table and they're like, did anybody see this? It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting also people in those positions that I know, like, because I'm from a very small community. Back when I was younger, like the YBC program and stuff was fairly successful. So when we went to provincials and stuff like that, it was always in the paper. But it was the proprietors reaching out to the paper saying, hey, you know what, these kids are going to provincials and stuff like that. You don't see that anymore. In my community, the paper isn't really a thing anymore. Like I think that
No.
it's like 4 pages now and stuff like that. So it's kind of moved away from that, obviously with social media being so available and electronic media. But I don't know if there's people in those positions that could help promote that side of it, or if it's just kind of, if it's a thing that they're close to, they'll post it. If not, they don't really care. I don't. How do you break into the media side anymore? It's tough.
Yeah, I mean,
You have to have
we
the
get
contacts.
we get a newspaper every week here in Kitchener, and it goes from the end of our driveway to recycling. It doesn't even make it in the house anymore. I mean, that's just the way it is, right?
Yep.
But what are we doing to send it over to those media outlets? Even if we were to write, you know, a mini article or something like that and get it over to them, would they publish it on their like on their website somewhere? Right? Would they even do that? And that's where I guess we've got to find that correct contact, or
maybe we
just
become those
right out there.
contacts.
That's just it, right?
Well,
Right.
they do that because I know that we've looked into it with the Edmonton 5-pin before, and we have reached out to, like, we've done the radio thing and we've done the newspaper thing when Edmonton had like a really strong showing at the Open, but we just haven't consistently been on top of doing that for like our youth tournaments and our adult tournament, like all of those things we haven't been consistent with, but we do have some contacts. I know that they will publish
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
or get it back going on, you know,
Yeah.
5-pin U.
Yeah, as I say, like we can become those contacts where, you know, you have a tournament, you've got some footage of it. I mean, it takes somebody editing, having an actual story about it, talking about it, writing about it, whatever the case may be, and putting it out there. And, you know, sure, it might start as, you know, just a 5-pin universe only, a piece, but maybe it becomes something bigger where people will just basically be able to copy and paste to their publication, and away you go, right? For them, it'd be simple to do something. They didn't have to put any effort into it.
Well, and that was kind of the idea of the WCBT, and Jeff, you were a part of it, starting doing the press conferences for the events,
Yep.
bringing attention to the best players or the local players of the tournament, and to bring attention to that situation, to that tournament specifically, and attention to those players, because you're trying to promote players that help elevate the sport and stuff like that. And even with doing those, it came to a point that people just weren't even sharing the press conferences in our own social media bubbles and stuff like that. So there's a wall and a disconnect. We see that talking about it is a lot easier with our friends, but there's still a stigma because people aren't sharing it, or maybe they're sick and tired of seeing bowling on their social media feeds, which is a very big possibility.
Yeah, saturation.
Yeah.
I know, like we did for open qualifying in our region the one year. I put together a whole bunch of like bowler profiles of people who made the team, and I mean, it took about a bunch of work. And then the next year I wasn't part of the Open, and I was kind of hoping that maybe we would do something like that again. And I mean, like, if you ask, I mean, maybe the narrative of that changes, but I mean, if you had asked a lot of bowlers of accomplishments and dates and everything like that, like they couldn't even tell you, you know, high scores, you know, what they shot in this tournament, you know, like there's so much of bowling, and I think maybe the part of that is the stigma that we're talking about, where there was never any pride in it, or not as much pride in it. But like, I think as us as bowlers have to do better work promoting that too, because, you know, like, talk to so many bowlers, and Jen and I kind of did like maybe like a little social study on this, where we asked a lot of bowlers, you know, just over time of, you know, like accomplishments, and they're like, I mean, I think I won this year. Maybe I came second this year. Like, they don't really have hard facts, and nothing's ever written down of their accomplishments. And John Conti was a guy like that, like really, really noticed it when his Ontario Hall of Fame induction, you know, came in, and he had a notebook that had everything. Like, when he was a kid, all his scores, like every week, practice sessions, who bowled what his score. He knew every 400 game he's bowled in his life. You know what I mean? Like, I
That's
don't.
the one thing I actually keep track of.
Good,
So,
and good
I
for
have a
you.
list
But
on
a lot
my
of people
phone.
don't. I'm not one of them. Like,
Yeah.
someone's asked me, like, you know, like high scores and stuff. I'm like,
I don't
I
know
have no
high
idea.
triple,
And
I
I've
don't
done a
know
little
any
bit
of that
better of a
stuff,
job, but
yeah.
you know, like high triples, like 1,000 plus or 900 plus. So like, I mean, I'm probably good for at least 1,000 triple every year and a 400 every year. Like, what'd you do last year? I don't know. Like, I had no idea, right? Because a lot
Thank
of people
God for
don't take the time to do
profiles
that.
on 5-Pin Universe. So
Yeah.
that's the only reason I would know any of my stuff.
Yeah, but that's like, I'm probably going to say that's a large majority of bowlers,
Yeah.
right? And maybe part of that is the stigma where we don't, you know, we're not proud enough of our accomplishments that we don't take note ourselves. But I mean, that is that's a big problem that we have, that we need to kind of overcome obstacles as well. Where, you know, you can ask certain people, like, I'm sure, I know Jim Head's watching. You can ask Jim Head, you know, details of wins and scores, and he knows it. You know what I mean? Like, we need more of that. We need more John Contis who have the notebook out, and you know, like, oh, I bowled a 418 this year against this person on this day. You know, like, no idea otherwise for myself. You know, like, I have a couple instances that I remember some cool stuff, and that's it. Other than that, no idea.
Yeah, it's getting to a point, and I don't know if that came from the proprietors, or not the proprietors, the people running the leagues and stuff like that, because there used to be a Masters League in Calgary. Adam can talk about this. Yeah. They kept stats of everything. I know Vancouver had a league that did that. It's I don't know if you can rely on the person, because I can tell you through my baseball career, I didn't keep personal stats. There was somebody that did that for me, right?
Yeah.
So
Automatic
that's where
scoring was the problem. Automatic scoring is
Yeah.
what changed it.
But the proprietor has all that information. Automatics prepare all that for you, right? Like, it was a missed opportunity, and I think that's where the ball was dropped, and we lost that, right? I think.
I wish it was just built into the scoring systems.
Yeah, well, it can be.
Like,
with
so,
JB, what he's doing, like, at least we're creating something again where, like, Jeff, you can say that on the WCB tour. Jeff Young is a 267 player. He's won this many matches, blah, 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 right? That could be pulled up instantly. That's what we need. We're missing that stat side of stuff.
for sure. Yeah, I know. So Jen and I are starting like a mini league right now. Sunday nights at Ingersoll, which, I mean, you wouldn't know too much about Ingersoll Lanes, but they have the same machines and scoring system as the Englands do. They have their scoring stuff. And
I'm
we
very
are gonna.
bitter about that.
Are you? Yeah. Well, hey, you get in line, because we never got it. We never got it in Elmira. But anyway, so we're gonna do a league there. I think we have like 2 teams, I think, right now, and it's just more of like a big group together to bowl in this little league. And it's the bowling center that Jen essentially ran. Her and her brother would run, and then when we left Elmira, her brother bought it off her parents. It's now been sold to another bowler, and so we're gonna do a every week league. 1 week is 5-pin, next week is 10-pin. We're gonna alternate every week.
That's awesome.
But I actually I'm gonna talk to Petey and see if I can get the stats, like hit percentage, score on first ball. I want to do that for the whole year and just see how much work it is to do that off of like that system, if it's possible at all. I would imagine it is. But and come up with some pretty cool stats that maybe we can pay a little more attention to, and to other bowling centers and other leagues where, You know, I know like there are stat sheets out there for like the old Toronto Majors leagues from like way back in the day, and they have strike percentage, spare percentage, hit percentage. They have all those numbers for the whole year. You know what I mean? So, I mean that's something to consider.
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we need to get. I guess we need to get ourselves kind of in the frame of mind where we keep stats a little bit better. Maybe. I know I need to for sure.
And well, it's a matter of what people want to do with them, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people just like to look at them and not really do anything
Yeah,
with them. Just
but it
kind
could
of
be-
cool to
it-
see. But some, it could be a huge tool.
Could be, as you say, it could be a good learning tool for sure. Like you know, like people always ask, oh, what makes you better than different than a 250 average? And it's just like, I can tell you, but and I can't physically show you stats. But if I was able to show you the stats, like, well, here's my strike percentage, here's my hit percentage, here's how they're different than someone who averages 240 or 250 or whatever.
Yeah.
These are the numbers that would be,
Yep.
you know what I mean? That would be beneficial to everybody, I think, to be able to say, like, look at a youth bowler or someone who's just trying to get better and say, well, you're kind of lacking in this number. This is what you need to work on. We just kind of do a crapshoot. You can watch him bowl for 5-10 minutes. Say, oh, you need to hit the headpin more. We don't have the stats to back it up.
Not even just for a schooling tool or a building tool. It's huge for the fan base, the audience base, to know. And hopefully we did it for the tour finals this year. And hopefully they got utilized as much as we could. Obviously we didn't have all the stats, but we had hit percentages, we had strike percentage, we had spare percentages of those players on the first 3 events of the tour. So at least there's some context to somebody that's just watching maybe the first episode, and you get to see Dexter Wiseman is strike percentages, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's pretty good. If he hits a mill, he's probably going to strike, right? Like, it's information that those people wouldn't know if they don't know the sport. They just sit down and watch it. They're going to be like, oh, these guys suck. They don't strike very often. Oh, wait, the tour percentage is this. They're better than that. It's a tougher game than I think, right? There's a lot to build a fan base on as well.
And a lot more importantly, when it gets on Bet365 and you have strike percentages,
That's right.
Yeah.
so-and-so strike percentage or over under this game for strikes.
1.7 to 1 on his bet.
You know what I mean? Like, you can have better odds. You can have more accurate odds for that.
Exactly. We've got to get it done. It's got to happen.
And who doesn't like degenerate gambling?
Exactly.
I see
It's
no
a sport
hands
that's built off of it.
AGLC.
Yeah, okay, well,
Apparently, yeah. Oh, it doesn't matter. We can call them out now. It doesn't make any difference at this point, does it?
Yeah. What doesn't matter. They won't let us do it anyway. So
That's right. Yeah.
we should take this time maybe to recognize that the Newfoundland Bowling Tour just had a High Rollers event.
I was just going to say. Yeah.
Well, Dexter, take it away then. You got it.
Congratulations to Brandon Tibbs. Won the the Invitational. Or the High Roller event there. It looks like he was facing Julie Hughes in the final, so.
part of the squad right there.
They have doubles tomorrow night, is it? Do they have doubles? Do they have a Friday night event too? That's
Wednesday.
that's
Throwing me
crazy.
off.
Yeah,
I think they have. Yeah, they have a bunch of events. I know that.
it's awesome
They're doing it right
Is this
out
the
there.
first year for it?
for NBT.
for
though.
this specific one.
So is it always on Wednesday? Like, does it always start Wednesday?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I have no idea. That is a great information. If Shane Chafe ever came onto podcast, he could give us all that information.
Wednesday seems early for a major event.
Like, it's
we
just
might
an
be
odd
getting there.
timing.
We might be getting there.
Dexter, be faster.
Their website is like not fast.
As there's me sitting here doing nothing to help, just sitting here asking questions.
Well, while he's looking, like that's the thing too. Like you look at those guys, even at Masters Nationals, at Youth Challenge, they had a monstrous showing and the team went undefeated, right? So, like, I would say the MBT has got a lot to do with that, and
Totally.
Melissa
Yep.
Manor and Shane, are huge hands in that and changing that culture and making it, exciting time where, they're like, you can see the difference in their ability, men's and women's, you know what I mean? Like they're going to be a problem for years,
Yeah. Oh,
and,
totally.
they got a couple more experienced bowlers maybe, next year that are going to join them to help them along the way. And you know what I mean? But like, it's exciting to see such a young group where, like, I'm sure if you ask like Melissa, who's, been going to nationals year after year after year, that change where it was just like, you're going there and you're kind of getting beat up a little bit. Now it's just like, you're forced to be reckoned with, and top to bottom, it doesn't matter who's on that team, it's going to perform, and that's exciting.
Man, this is the best you've looked all day, Jeff.
Can you
So-
zoom that?
Yeah, okay, so it doesn't look like they have something. Get out of here. It doesn't look like they have an event on Friday night. So, the high roller pins game tonight, the doubles tomorrow, and doubles
And a
tomorrow.
qualifying shift. Yeah.
And then, no, I don't think so. I think that's qualifying for the doubles event.
Okay.
Because then they say main event shift 1 is on Friday at 6:30. So they have the 3 shifts later on, starting in the Friday night, and then go from there. So, not really a bad option. Maybe TPC, we should move our doubles to like Thursday night and have our invitational on Wednesday night, and then have more time for shifts on Fridays.
That's the
But
beautiful.
lose.
So that's the beautiful thing about out there, though. They have like a large population of really good bowlers, all very close together.
Absolutely.
So I mean, that is simple. Like, they're going to work tomorrow still, but they can still bowl this event at night.
Yeah.
Like, that is something that you guys are gonna have a harder time do, because you're gonna have people traveling. That's an extra day possibly that they're gonna have to head out early, take a day off of work, et cetera, et cetera. Where they have a concentrated population where they have that ability to make it what it is, where it could be a week long. Like Mitch Pape and I have always talked about running a tournament where it's like kind of like the U.S. Open style, where you're just bowling like literally qualifying like 40 games over a week. But I mean, like, how feasible is that to do in any place but, say, like Newfoundland?
Yeah.
Where they have so many good bowlers. Like, that's the one thing that I noticed when I went out. I was out there in February, and I was looking at houses and stuff like that, and like, just to see how many good bowlers in such a small area, it was baffling to know. Like they're basically their national teams are like one city. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy that they have that many good bowlers in one small area.
Yeah.
You
Sorry,
move
my
your
dogs.
doubles to Thursday night, and you're gonna lose so much money in alcohol.
No, I know. If anything, I think we'd put like another shift Wednesday night so locals can play there. But
Yeah.
that's if we can start filling up the Thursday morning shift too. And then
When
we'll
do
end up
you-
filling up the Wednesday shift, and we'll put in a Wednesday afternoon shift, and it's just a slippery slope forever. We need more lanes.
Sea cans.
Yeah,
You should expand
yeah.
into the parking lot.
I'm sure the landlord would love us doing that.
would.
Expanding
More square
for him
footage.
for
They don't
free.
need to know. Just keep it secret.
Oh, he would love us. He would legit love us. Let's just like build his equity for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We need
You're
a-
good people doing that for them.
yeah. Yeah.
Hey Jeff, when do you move out that way?
So house is supposed to be built for May 1st. So yeah, that's exciting. If any, like, for anyone who doesn't know, like, Jen and I are getting a house built in just outside of St. John's in Paradise. And it was supposed to be in a couple weeks. Really, originally we were supposed to be moving, but they I think they're building 31 houses in this phase in our neighborhood, and it's coming along a little slower than we thought it would. They told us like October, November, and we want to drive out, so we're not going to do that in the winter time. So we just told them to finish some of those other houses first and worry about ours, and we'll come out in May, and we'll be good with that. So yeah, it's exciting because I mean, that's going to be a huge life and lifestyle change for us. That we're really excited. Like, it seems like the majority of them are excited too. So it's gonna be good times.
What prompted the decision to move there?
If I'm really being simple, like house prices here are stupid. Like, they're
Yeah,
literally
no, that's
like, I mean, they're
totally fair.
coming down now, and we actually joke that it's because we got a house built, starting to get a house built in Newfoundland is why the prices are going down. Because if we didn't do it, they'd still be stupid. But like average when we committed to this house, average house price in Kitchener was $1.2 million, and we both make decent money and we got money in the bank, but like, how affordable is that? And Jen's turning 30 this year again, and I'm turning 43, so we're not getting any younger. And it's like the idea of like, do we want to pay a crazy mortgage for 20 more years, like into Jen's late 40s, early 50s, and my 60s, or do we like,
You're really committed to that, eh?
yeah, well, I don't want to die.
He has to be smart man.
So you know what I mean, like, so like we saw an opportunity where we could make a move, and we're pretty versatile. We've moved several times. I mean, we moved to run the bowling alley. I was comfortably living in Hamilton and picked up and moved out to Ingersoll, and then we went to Telmira, and then Cambridge, and then Kitchener. Like, we've moved tons. This is just a little bit bigger of a move for us, and like, really nothing changes. I feel like we're smart and versatile enough that we can get jobs anywhere. So why work ourselves into the ground with paying mortgages and stuff like that when we can get ourselves comfortable with an easy mortgage and do whatever we want out there, pretty much. Like that's the name of the game. We put an offer in on a house. So we went and looked at a house in, I'm going to say November, and they were asking $499,900 for this house. It was in Stratford, which is like, I guess maybe like an hour, 45 minutes or so from Kitchener. And we went and looked on like a Thursday or Friday, and they said they were holding offers until Monday between 11 a.m. 3 p.m. only. They weren't taking anything. So we looked at it, and the house was decent. Like, it wasn't huge by any means. It was maybe 1,800 square feet, and it was just recently done on the inside. Outside needed a little bit of work, and a detached garage, and needed a little bit of work inside. So we decided we'd go $560. So we were at 60 over asking, and the Monday rolled around, and we put our offer in, and we did not win it, and we missed by $200,000. It went 260 over asking. They had 110 offers in 4 hours. So like, right then and there was just like, well, how feasible is it to be doing this? Like, this doesn't make sense financially for us.
Yeah.
If we don't have to, we don't have, like, we're empty nesters. We don't have any ties to be here aside from Jaden, our granddaughter. Mm-hmm. We can work around that. But like, Jen's oldest is in Halifax. She's living in Halifax, so that's not far away. So like, why can't we pick up one more time, just move a little bit further away, and live an easier lifestyle? We can start bowling stuff like again. Like, we can have, we can go to nationals. We both bowled nationals this year, but we weren't able to bowl the same one because we weren't able to bowl the same terms together because someone always had to be home with a dog and work and whatever. So like, it's just really hard to navigate all that stuff, and we're just looking for a way to get away from that and kind of live life. Like, what's the sense if you're only working?
Yeah, fair.
So, and then I'm gonna learn how to drink because I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, living out there, not a choice.
So much free time. What are you going to do with yourself?
Yeah. I'm going to drink and shovel snow. That's my thing.
Not in May.
Yeah, well,
Golf season starts early out there and lasts forever, from what I heard.
Yeah. Well, I got to figure out how to golf again. It's been a while.
Their winters aren't as cold, but it's just so much snow.
I can handle the snow as long as it's not like minus 20 every day. But I hate the cold. And that's another thing to notice too, because everyone's like, well, it's not as hot as it is here. And like, maybe I'm just getting older, and I'm like, I used to always say it can't be too hot for me. I love it. Now it's just like, it's too hot. Like, I don't like it. I don't like sitting outside and like dying of sweat and not doing anything. Never mind if I was actually doing something. So, like I said, maybe it's just I'm getting older and I don't want the heat or the humidity as much, but I'm okay with it being a little bit cooler. I'm down with that.
Should we go to the other side of the country and talk about the Triple Crown Memorial that was held in Vancouver?
Yeah.
at Dell Lanes. They had a Triple Crown tournament September long. Bobby Herman is the champion. He won the last event they had in Abbotsford.
Oh,
He
he was
played
also
unreal.
high qualifier. Wow,
He was
that's-
high qualifier too. Look at that.
That's really
Not too often.
That's really small.
Can we make that bigger?
No, I can't. I don't
Hey,
think
Dexter
there
hears
is a-
that all the time.
It's been nice having you on, Jeff.
Here you go.
All the power.
That's right. Yeah,
yeah.
good for Bobby. Hell of a competitor.
He's been a great bowler for so many years, right? Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wish we got to see him more often, but it's nice that you got to see him play Masters and stuff again this year too,
yeah.
and play well at Masters, and yeah, probably
Double
one of
crown
the
champ.
most competitive human beings I've ever met in my life. Like it's just pure intensity, but he's so awesome off the lanes too. He's just fun
Yeah.
to have around. But I think they came up with what did we say? It was 65 entries in total.
Yeah,
So
that's what it was looking like.
yeah, it's a starting point for them for sure. I know they're looking at try to get to 100 next year, but it's a start. So yeah. High
Well,
roller of, sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, it'll take a few years to get some momentum, but
Yeah.
I mean, because we used to be like that with we used to do it in Elmira Open. Like the first couple of years, it was 40 people, you know, and it gains momentum in time, and people realize it's a good tournament to go to, and you know,
People start planning for it.
mhm.
Well, the concept of the three late legends that are out there, I think will help spur the tournament as well.
Do they have to add in? It's
Uh,
do they have to add in
unfortunate news.
Mr. Ron Sadness too? That one was a heartbreaking one to hear. Glad that we had him on so that everyone can, have something to go back and relate to with him. But yeah, Big Daddy was synonymous with BC bowling out there too, especially in the interiors there. That's a big loss to that community. So maybe there's gonna have to be a name change for that.
So he was,
Next year.
and he was another guy too that was, it could be pretty intense on the lane, but find a nicer guy. You know what I mean? Like he was an absolute gem. You know what I mean? I had some very limited experiences with him bowling nationals and stuff like that, but great memories and the epitome of what you want an elite bowler to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Fun fact: me and Ron were both rookies for Calgary. My open rookie year.
Really?
And I was the one who had to wear the French maid. He did not.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine him actually wearing that.
No, couldn't imagine me wearing it.
Yeah. Well, no,
Try not
a
to.
little. Yeah, he was definitely a guy that was larger than life, like just
awesome.
big personality and just so fun to have around. And yeah, lots of good stories of drinking with him in Scottsdale, and yeah,
Thoughts really go to Doc as well. I know
yeah, that's
he's so close with Ron there. So we're thinking everybody out in BC again.
yeah.
Just an unreal few years.
Yeah, they had a rough go here the last little while.
Yeah. But yeah, so they had their high roller event on the Thursday night, I believe, and I believe Jaden won that, correct?
Yeah.
So, Jaden, oh man, I can't. Alligator, is that right? We always call him Alligator, but
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce his last name at all.
yeah, another super young guy with tons of talent coming out to all the big events, and kudos to him for the win there.
Was anyone overrated or underrated in this tournament, or was everyone properly rated?
Well, Bailey showed up, so and didn't make the cut, so properly rated.
Poor guy.
Okanagan Eclipse alum. We just tore him down.
He could take it. He could take it. That guy dishes it more than anyone, so he could take it. I would like to hear some feedback from like people that played in the tournament because like it's neat. I know they took it was 24 cut and they did a consolation. But I remember Nick talking about it. I can't remember exactly how he said the consolation would go, but I think that the winner from 25 to 40 had to face the 24th spot. So, like, the 24th spot had a 50-50 chance of making it into the final round. So it's not as big of a punishment for not making into the top 24, into the cut line. So, and I remember Nick talking about this on the podcast, and then it just so happened that he was the 24th spot. So, I don't know how that actually turned out. But I am curious as to how that went, because I don't think that's a bad idea at all, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Something different. Looking in here to see if I see Nick's. No, yeah, it looks like Nick did make the cut. So yeah, or make the
he
final,
won
so.
the consolation event.
Perfect. So yeah,
Well, there you go.
I don't mind. It's a different take on a consolation, but I don't mind that it feels like less heartbreak. You know?
He actually won his first match too. It looks like, because it's a 24 cut, the top 8 got a bye to the second round. So Nick actually won his first match, and then obviously came up against Bobby Herman. Bobby beat him, but they had a losers bracket side, so it was a full double knockout system. I don't know if the winner had to be beaten twice though.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Anybody in the chat happen to know that?
Yeah.
Probably be good.
I want to know how long that ran too, because we had thought about that too, but I feel like that having the B side ran that way, it's got to take way longer, because there's at no point can you run those brackets simultaneously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's be fair. The last how many tournaments at TBC Regina? There's somebody running both sides anyway. So is it really that much longer?
I don't know.
It wouldn't be, right? Because you're
if
playing the
people
same
are running
amount of
both
matches.
sides, yeah, for sure. But I think we've got most people out by the 8s for the most part.
Usually.
Fours, I think, most of the time. But yeah,
It's getting harder and harder to run both sides. Just with sheer volume of top quality players going into all the events. So
yeah.
it's definitely getting tougher. But so Bob Herman wins $2,900. Derek Orrin from Winnipeg made the trip out there, and he won $2,000. Scott Fitzpatrick won $1,500. That name doesn't ring a huge bell to me.
Isn't he? He was at Red Deer. Isn't he? What's his face's buddy? They were playing in Kelowna region.
No,
No, I thought Scott was his friend.
Scott is his name, but that's not his last name.
Different guy.
Yeah.
Pretty decent money for 65 entries.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they did well.
Rhonda McDougall's company Venom, I think, was a very large sponsor in this event, so that helped
Kudos.
hold up the prize fund for sure.
Excellent.
Awesome.
I'm gonna.
Well, hopefully they can take that to another level next year if they decide to run it the same weekend. So, because that was the same weekend of Scottsdale, correct?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
kind of fizzled out for a number of reasons, I think. But
Yeah, and then Daniel Dooley won 4th. Good for him.
Yep.
Another guy that's been showing up at all the big events and putting in the time and putting in the effort and not being afraid to travel and take his chances, and it's paying off. He's got the right attitude for it too. He's the polar opposite of Bob Herman. he's just like this big giant guy,
Yeah.
and he's
In size and mentality is what
yeah,
you're saying?
exactly. Just like super chill, just super chill. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, so congratulations to those guys. Thanks for trying to start something up out there. It's awesome. Anytime that we can have more events and more things for people to play, it's good for the country and it's good for the local players too. So
For sure.
Yeah.
I see both Paradise and TPC opened up their entries this
Yep.
last week.
Yep.
How's there's the initial response for you guys?
I mean, we just basically officially Tim opened them quickly, and then I closed them down for a little bit there because I wanted to give Autumn Open a little bit more time, and then we reopened them again yesterday, and it's looking, it's gonna be good. Yeah. Let me take a look here. We have 14 people for the first shift, the Thursday shift right now. 36 for Friday morning already. 42 for Friday afternoon. 38 for Saturday morning. And 40 already on the list for Saturday afternoon. So
You know what would be really cool? If TPC adopted a system where you could see how the entries were going to do, like the 2022 Autumn Open, they've introduced a Google worksheet that people can view
that's
what
we
the
put it
entry
on,
systems.
But we just opened it up today. So
I'm just
I'm
saying.
going to make it viewable for everybody except for your ass because you're hating it. Yes. It is. That was what we're planning on doing. So here we are.
Good initial blast of people in there. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Anybody interested in doing the invitationals or doubles, let us know as soon as you can so we can get you put in there. There might be some changes to some events, so the sooner you put your name in, the better. Yeah. We're having a TPC meeting on Monday to confirm everything and see what kind of changes we are going to make. We'll see. Yeah, nothing's official because we haven't had a chat yet, but there are some things that might change just to try to make it easier on the bowlers and the staff, and yeah, and the volunteers. It's been hard. We have definitely heard feedback amongst ourselves and with bowlers where TPC's a long weekend. It's a super long weekend, so we gotta try to figure out some ways to try to make it less extensive. Yeah, so we're gonna have a chat on Monday, and there might be a few changes. Henry, the invitational, you're not playing in the ladies' invitational. You're just not.
Did you just tell him he's not playing the Invitational?
The ladies.
ladies.
Jeez.
Oh,
He messaged me being like, "I'm gonna play in that." I'm like, "No."
Henry,
not.
you can sponsor me in that.
Yeah, there
I'll win
go.
you some money.
Yeah.
Yep, and all the rest of the money can go on Bet365.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. But yeah, if anybody wants in for those, let me know. Henry, you can play the main event one. You're good at getting sponsorship money, so just do it. Just do it.
I'll bowl if you sponsor, Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Henry,
exactly.
just sponsor all of us. We all
Yeah.
want a sponsorship.
It's literally just a license to print more money. You're good.
Yeah, it's
I know
fine.
you're crazy if you don't do it.
Yeah, and it's good to hear Paradise's entries are going to be great. I
They
think that
opened
was
the
like
Thursday shift.
Yeah, exactly. And Mark's like, I'm not going to open up a Thursday shift unless I really think it's necessary. And it was like a week later, it's like, I got to open up a Thursday shift. It's crazy. But that was like what I was hoping would be a major positive change for both Club Tour and Autumn, is that shifting the Club Tour to the summer where it's more feasible for a proprietor. And still be able to get all the people from around the country to go. You obviously saw the dividends in that. And then that's going to pay dividends to Autumn Open too, where in the last couple of years they've hit their biggest entries they've had in forever. It was like 200 some entries, and this year it's going to blow that out of the water too. So it's going to be huge.
It's nice to see Canada's longest running cash tournament succeeding and getting the entries it deserves and
Yeah.
getting the players it deserves, right? Because forever there was a club tour event on it, so we weren't getting the Central Canada players, Upper Canada players coming out, and
I like how you said that.
it's nice to see.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that was one thing with Club Tour that was kind of like on everyone's mind too. Is it going to work in August? And I don't know how many people ask me, both sides of the border, like, oh, you think they're going to do it again in August next year? I mean, they're smart people. I think they figured out it's a good idea to do it again. Like if we know it's a good idea, they definitely know it's a good idea. And like you said, like it kind of frees up the schedule a little bit, and you have no more conflicts of October. I considered going out and bowling as well, and I'm off that week too. But I got some other stuff. We got some trailer stuff we got to take care of, so I won't be able to do it. But
What about
but I
TPC?
mean, maybe if I'm going to do anything, it's probably not going to be till next year because I mean I've used up all my vacation. When I went and bowled nationals for Masters, I had to take a leave of absence at work. Like I had to get an approved leave of absence because I have no holidays, and that hasn't changed. So we have like a week shut down at work in that week in October. So it would be feasible to go, but I got too much going on. We got too much to wrap up here, so I won't be able to do it. But I mean, like in following years, like it's something that I myself personally need to really make more of an effort to go do because I've been to Regina once and I've been to TPC once. So like I need to get out to bowl these tournaments more. That's the one thing that that Jen and I kind of fuels this move as well is the freedom to be able to bowl more tournaments because if there's one weakness I've had in the past several years is I don't get out to enough tournaments to bowl. It's not like I don't succeed in them. I just never get to them for the most part. So
Well, that story is basically the struggle that many of the higher end players have every year is lack of vacation or the leaves of absence. I would have been at Club Tour for sure if I had any vacation left, but due to the Open and Masters and even Open Provincials, which takes up a buttload of vacation days on top of it, it's getting to that point, especially now with the introduction of Winnipeg on the WCBT, that people are really going to have to start like deciding what do you actually want to play in here. Right, it's do you want to keep playing some of these events, especially the user pay provinces, right? If Alberta was pure user pay, I don't think I'd be playing these events. I think I'd be going to the cash cash tournaments, right? So I don't know. I've got a long standing history, especially with the C5 events. So I kind of want to continue that tradition there. But at some point, people are gonna have to make those decisions.
Sure.
And no chance we ever make it down to a duck pin tournament.
Yeah.
Right. Like unless somebody wins some big lottery, right?
Yeah, and that's a fair view on it too, right? For years, we've known lots of couples that have chosen Masters or the Open due to vacation times and stuff like that. So you choose one or the other. Well, now with the club tours, the WCBTs and stuff like that doing so well, and a chance to make money and pay for your weekend and make a trip of it, does that become more feasible in the end? Right? Not to take away from any of those other national events, because obviously they are where the team events go and all that good stuff, but I think you're going to have a tough time convincing the younger generation, if they have running into vacation issues, to choose a national event over a WCBT or a club tour event.
I mean,
where they can make their money.
Just coming off of club tour, like this, I walked out the door with like $9,000 basically. Am I going to choose that or a gold medal that I already have a bunch of? If I'm going to go to nationals, I'm picking the money. I mean, there was a time where I probably really like the medals mattered to me. I definitely said like prestige was important to me, and got a bunch of them. But like, how many elite bowlers have multiple national titles? And it's like it's not a thing to them anymore. It's cool. It's a nice little addition to your resume. But it's like, okay, I kind of want to get paid for my work now. And how do you choose one or the other? And then that's going to water down those competitions as well, because you're not getting the best bowlers that are coming out because they're playing the cash tournament, and you can't blame them for doing it.
If it wasn't for
Right.
that little thing sitting over Adam's left shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
I would probably be making the choice of just having just cash service too.
Mm-hmm.
But that my ego says I want that at some point.
Yeah.
So that's a big
But
reason for me to keep
so
playing, but-
but there's the thing about the C5 Hall of Fame. They're talking it's not only C5 events, right?
Yeah.
They're introducing
Yeah.
having Masters stuff in it and even WCBT stuff,
I
stuff
was
like
gonna
that
say,
too.
if I'm being honest,
So-
you need to add those.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
And-
So
and
the
you're right.
C5 is the over-encompassing regulation on the whole sport, not just their own events. So
Yeah.
for them to have a Hall of Fame and not include that stuff
For sure,
would be
yeah.
a slap in the face to the other stuff, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah, I mean,
they needed a starting jumping off point, right? And
Yeah.
the C5 events were a perfect system to at least get the first class or two through. So yeah, I'm glad they're opening it up because it's not true representation, and I'm
Well,
glad
you-
they're
you-
doing it.
you look at the players at like a WCBT event, like cream of the crop of the country, like generational bowlers that are bowling in this thing. And then, not taking away from any of the other competitions, provincially or nationally, but like you're having all those bowlers still that are at those competitions plus, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you have a field of 200 bowlers of the best in the country I'm sorry, the competition can be harder than, a couple from every province, to be truthful.
Each
Well,
tour
and
goes
that's the
to
main
national.
thing too, is how do you get to that national? You gotta let's take Alberta for a prime example. You got to beat Edmonton or Calgary or Central some years. You got to beat those players
Yep.
to make it to the national. So you need a strong backing to help you beat those players. Yeah, that's tough. But is it tougher than going through 200 of the best players at a single event? I don't think so.
yeah.
Yep.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Especially now. Especially in this era.
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
When
I don't
when,
think- yeah.
when I won my first TPC, and I'm very proud of that win from TPC, but that was a totally different generation and a time period. I think my win at Autumn Open was far greater than my win at TPC, just because of the generation that it was in.
I feel the same way about my TPC in comparison to the Autumns.
Yep. And
Except the Autumn is it's a different breed of tournament. That it's not just about the bowling at that tournament, right? It's the battle of attrition. Like that Sunday is, unless you've played those 23 games, you just don't quite get it.
But that's way less games than like
For sure.
Heritage or especially now Club Tour too, right?
yep.
Because yeah. How many games was that?
So Degrassi would bowl 32 on the Sunday,
Yeah,
and I bowled 25. And then the club tour we had previous to that, before everything kind of got like shut down, Mitch won it, beat Bobby in the finals. I went up both sides and lost to Bobby in the semis, then Mitch in the semis, and they played each other in the final. I think that's how it went.
Yeah.
And I bowled 27 games without a break.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you earned it.
that's right. The
You
year
know?
I won TPC, I played 33 games
Yeah.
because I went up the A side and then I went up the B side, lost in the B finals, and then played the finals. So I played
Yeah.
every possible
But
game.
the,
there was.
the
That's-
difference
that's
is
how when I won
you
retirement
don't have
too.
16 players doing 23 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No, and-
that's the battle of attrition, and afterwards it's like everyone's relieved and everybody's proud of your other competitors for getting through the battle at the same time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same boat as you guys for like my first club tour win versus this past one. I mean, this one is, to me, it's a way bigger feat because of the bowlers, the amount of bowling. Like the first one I won, I think we played. We just did playoff format brackets, 2-game match play. That was it, right? Not double knockout or anything. It was just boom, 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 and you're done. And this had. You bowl a 7-game block, and then it's like, oh, cool, I get to bowl another 7-game block, and oh, cool, I get to bowl another 7-game block, and it felt like it never ended, right?
Yeah.
And I mean,
So-
we joke around how like bowlers aren't the most fit people in the world, but you're starting to see some people that are a little more fit that are succeeding because it's not just
I think
taking a
there's
win on
something-
5 games or 10 games. There's a lot to it.
It's funny because I was talking to Kelsey about this too, and the conversation, like, yeah, it's a lot of games, and like, you know what, you'll have like athletic people that pick up bowling for one day, and they'll play 4 games, and they're sore as shit.
Yeah, they can barely get out of bed. Yeah,
But there's something to be said for like having, again, I think just limited extraneous movements, like having a simple style, simple repeatable style that's not overly hard on your body. Look at Len. That guy is beat to shit. Like, and look at him go. But it's
just-
so
yeah, it's
simple
nonstop,
and fluid
yeah.
that it's not hard on the body, and it seems to be okay.
yeah.
Out of all of your achievements in bowling, where does this one rank for you then?
I don't know. Like I have some personal ones that mean a lot to me. I guess as far as accomplishment and strength of field, I mean, this has got to be number 1 for sure. I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to shake at. My first ever win. There was some personal and emotional, I guess, side plays to first time I bowled nationals, and at Masters and won the gold. And that story, and my mom was terminally ill with cancer and was too sick to travel. We were bowled in Quebec, and we won with a game to go. And that phone call home, because like you didn't have social medias and stuff like that back in 2003. It was like a tough phone call to make, and she never got to see me bowl again. And she passed away the night before our first Master tournament the following season. And I mean, that one hits hard for me because I felt like I didn't belong making a team anyway. I was kind of just made it out of nowhere. I had a really good year. It was like destiny aligned me. It's hard to beat the accomplishment of 2012 Open team. Like, Mitch and I were laughing, like, so we had John Conti on our team, myself, Mitch, and Mark Goulet. Like, there's 10 club tour wins on that team.
Yeah.
As it sits now. You know what I mean? Like, it was a crazy team. And then you throw in like Franny and Eric, like they were lights out. Like we went undefeated at provincials. It never happened for a men's team in the history of our Open. Like, it's hard to beat that too. So I mean,
totally.
This one's pretty sweet. Like, I don't know, like I don't even know if it's even hit me yet. Like, it's kind of, for me, it's kind of like it's been a really cool accomplishment, but I haven't been like, oh my god, like that was awesome. Like, I haven't had that feeling, and I don't know why that is. Like, I kind of, maybe that upsets me a little bit, that maybe I'm robbing myself of that somehow. But I mean, super proud of the accomplishment in itself, and to think of like 320 entries, and I finished number 1. The money's great, and we were talking about that already. Like, the money's great, but like that accomplishment alone is, like, that's a big pat on the back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe hopefully getting rid of the overrated tag in my bowling career. Because I mean, that means something.
I
When I
actually
come
got
off
that
the lane,
message. I got that
come off
message
the
right
lane.
away.
I say, I come off the lane, and that's literally one of the first things I say right
Yep.
to you. Am I overrated? Am I underrated? Properly rated? Like, is this a thing? Like,
He,
you know what I mean?
he actually messaged me right away. He's like, I will never call him overrated again. He's like, I hope I motivated him to be better this week.
He did in a good way.
Holy cow.
We can laugh at it, right? Like,
Totally.
everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I definitely don't think of him any less for it.
Are you going to keep this a complete inside joke for everyone? Or?
Oh, go ahead, Dexter. Yeah,
All right. So after the first day of Masters Nationals, we're cleaning up our stuff at the table, at the 5-pin table, and Bailey comes up and he's like, I gotta say something. Bailey lost. He's like, I gotta say something. I'm like, what's that? He's like, that Jeff Young, he's pretty overrated. I was like, well, oh no, I think
So
this was actually the
random.
next morning. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Bailey? He's like, he hasn't been playing very good. I'm like, Bailey, you're averaging 212 at Bonnie Doon. And he's like, what? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, yeah, you are. He's like, who looked? I'm like, me. Like, you're averaging 212 a body, dude. How are you throwing stones right now? and then I had a good laugh, and he had a good laugh, and then
Now I'm having a
after
good laugh.
Masters, Jeff had a good laugh.
Jeff has the last laugh.
I will say though, like I was telling Jen this, like, I mean, while I was bowling, there was a few instances where I was up there and I was kind of really feeling it and getting on a string, and like I was literally telling myself like you guys are gonna learn today. I'm Jeff Young. Like you're gonna
Totally.
learn some respect. You know,
You
like
never.
that was going through my head before I threw a ball. Like I don't for like 3 or 4 games straight, where it's just like you're gonna learn today. Like you guys are gonna learn, and you know maybe that's a bit cocky for me to say it now, but I mean it was going through my head. That's what motivated me, and it's not saying that in a bad way. It was. You know, like I know it was like a ha-ha at the end of the day, but I'm going to use it to my
You
advantage.
don't want to
right?
motivate people who are already motivated. I don't think I told you till after the tournament, though.
No, you didn't. No, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I didn't want to feel that. But I mean, it's no different. Like when I got the number 1 ranking for 5-pin U, our good friend of the show,
That's
JD.
definitely overrated. Yeah.
Right. No, you're exactly right. But Carrie makes a post of 5-pin U being like, hey, like how long? These are the list of like longest reigning days. How long is Dexter gonna hold it? And JB wrote in, and he wrote until the next event, and like and it's just like JB and I were buddies, right? He's just giving me a hard time, and that's good.
Yeah.
But I remembered that. Like
Yeah.
I remembered it, and then I went to Regina, and I think I finished in the top 4 or something, and I moved further, like created a bigger difference in our rankings, and I scrolled all the way back through 4 months of 5-pin U posts to find it, and just put a little like eyebrow thing on it, and but it does. Those little things just kind of linger in your background, and it motivates you, and that's okay.
But you know, at the end of the day, like if you have the reputation from a lot of people for being successful, you don't luck into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like stats don't lie. I mean, I'm the exception for Club Tour. I got extremely lucky on quite a few occasions, but you got to be good to be lucky, right? Like I wasn't really gifted the opportunity. I really had to work for it. And like I said, like I was telling you guys, like pre-show there, that you know my 2 high games on Sunday, I had 7 1/4 for those 2 games. I don't know if they're the same pair or if they're one pair apart, but they're the high 40s for the lanes. It's 7 1/4. I had 7 left corner spares in those 2 games. You know what I mean? Like I would like if JB can kind of work his magic with this whole stats thing. Look up how many corner pins I left. I missed 2 corner pins that day.
It should have emailed to you. Do you
Even,
know
like-
what email is at your age?
No, what's that? I'm trying to figure TikTok. Like, but I want to see. Like, I guarantee you, I had more than 50 corners, and I missed 2 the whole playoffs.
That's
I
awesome.
know I missed 2 for sure, only 2, because I was keeping track in my head. Because you know, like I throw a good ball, get roasted. I remember that, and I'm gonna say 50 plus for sure for corner pins for the 25 games.
JB's got all the data. That's awesome.
There we go. And it'd just be interesting to see because like sure, like I needed some luck to get in there and I know like we were talking about with Jeff throwing banging out in 10th frame and getting me into the finals. Like I needed a lot of luck, but you know, if I miss 4, 5, 6 corner pins that day, I'm not in. Simple as that. So
Absolutely, yeah.
So like I said, like stats don't lie, and you get a reputation of being a successful bowler. There's a reason for that.
Yep.
You know.
Well, shall we wrap it up, guys? And lady? Yes? Lady?
Maybe.
Just leave it at guys. Just leave it at guys. It's easier that way.
Jeff, if you ever decide to come out to TPC, you've always got a place to stay. Ryan usually stays here too, so if you need a place
Yeah.
You don't want to stay there.
let me know.
Ryan's there.
I'll probably
Ryan,
beat Stu
Ryan
when
are
you
like
sleep,
best friends
but-
now.
yeah.
Quick story on that too. I put us in doubles before I even physically met the guy.
Really?
That's awesome. I'm like, hey, nice meeting you. I already put us in doubles.
Yeah, you guys are kindred spirits.
We
that's
are
for sure.
best friends. Yep. We're now linked also through Justin Verlander.
Oh yeah. Honestly, that was pretty awesome what you did for him.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Verlander's a cheater anyway, right? So who cares?
That's right.
All right, we'll wrap up the show. Thanks, Jeff, for coming on and
Thanks
sharing
for having me, guys.
your club tour experience.
Yeah.
And Katie,
Always a blast.
thank you for coming on and hosting.
Hanging
Adam, you're always always a great host. I know you had a power failure there for a little bit, but you came back in a hurry.
I was afraid I was going to get one too. I could hear it going on in the background. I was like, here we go.
I heard
it
one
was
big
bad
one,
here,
and then
too.
all of a sudden, it was like 10 minutes later it went out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's massive wind roll through here.
Crazy.
Oh, pleasure
Well-
being on as always, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
Text
coming
or
on, Jeffy.
whatever.
Yeah, anytime, literally anytime, because I'm on enough. If it's not me, it's Mitch. So I guess Mitch will be on next week. I'll be on the week after. I was gonna say one of us could probably host, but I've done that too. So
Yeah, we've always said that we need to have like
Eastern.
Central.
Eastern, Central.
Just
is-
East is like east of Manitoba. Anywhere.
Yeah.
Eastern.
Yeah, that's how we look at it too.
But
Yeah,
we need,
sure.
yeah, we're gonna get you guys to start hosting a podcast out there too, just so that it can be more relevant to that area of the country.
I couldn't imagine if a podcast with me and Mitch on it not be entertaining.
You're exactly right. You're absolutely right.
All right. Well, we will wrap it up here. Stop. Once again, I just want to thank all our patrons. You can become a patron at patreon.com/5pinuniverse for as little as $2 a month Canadian, so you can help support us. Bringing this podcast to you once every week, maybe once every 2 weeks. Or you can change your the rate, how much you're paying every month if you want. You can move it up, down. We have different tiers. We are looking at making some changes to the Patreon tiers, so we are bringing in some more merch, and hopefully we'll get some different stuff going on for you guys. We know we've been slacking on it. It's been a tough year, but we're ready to rock and roll, and the 5-Pin Universe League is coming back.
It's looking
We're
good.
starting late September.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. So,
It's gonna be awesome.
It'll be great. It'll be great.
yeah. With that all being said, thanks again for another great week, guys. Thanks for the podcast, and we'll see you all hopefully next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeffy.
Peace.